All right, so welcome to the Toothpick-ase enzyme activity. This activity is a simulation and it really makes for a good pre-lab activity prior to completing the enzyme lab investigation where you're using real enzymes like catalase and real substrate like hydrogen peroxide. For this simulation, we basically have two parts. Our first part, we're just going to be calculating enzyme reaction rates as the enzyme breaks down the substrate over time. And then the second part of this activity will involve adding the concentration of substrate variable into the mix and actually writing down some data related to changing that concentration over time. So what we're gonna really do now is focus on our substrate, which is a toothpick. So that is going to be representing our substrate, just a toothpick. The person's hands that we have that's going to be breaking these toothpicks will be the enzyme for this experiment simulation. And really, if you think about the structure of the enzyme, the finger, the index finger and the thumb will represent the active site, which is where the actual toothpick kind of fits into a special shape that kind of matches the shape of the substrate. And then our volunteer, when it's time, they will pick up the toothpick, which is the substrate, and break it into two products. And these two products will simulate the products in the enzyme investigation, which will end up being oxygen foam as the oxygen gas, as well as water. So we're gonna, over different time intervals, have you write down how many toothpicks, how many substrates get metabolized by our Toothpick-ase enzyme. Remember, enzymes end in ASE. And so the hands are actually our enzyme. And so one thing to keep in mind with this particular activity, if you'd rather not use toothpicks, pop beads make for a good replacement, and they can be reused over and over, unlike the toothpicks, which are going to be broken. So we're going to go ahead and switch to our volunteer who will be breaking the toothpicks over a total of 3 minutes. And if you look at your data table, it should be set up showing independent variable being time in seconds. And every time we get to a certain time interval, these first few recordings of data will be 10-second intervals, then we'll switch to 30 seconds, then finally 60 seconds. So you'll want to write down on your data table when we get to those time intervals that I will call out, write down how many toothpicks he has broken at that time interval. And we're going to run this for a total of 3 minutes. So all set. So we're going to start breaking one toothpick at a time, not looking into the bowl, and writing down when you hear me call out the time interval. On your mark, get set, go. "10 seconds, write down how many were broken at 10 seconds. "20 seconds, we're at 20 seconds, write how many he broke down, and this is cumulatively, you're writing down the total number that have been broken down. 30 seconds, so write down how many were broken so far at 30 seconds. And now it's 60 seconds. How many so far have been broken down at 60 seconds? All right, 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes. So write down how many total since the beginning have been broken down at 120 seconds. And stop. So that's 180 seconds total time that he was breaking toothpicks. So write your final data point next to 180 seconds. And that concludes this first part of the Toothpick-ase enzyme activity.